Heroin is one of the most dangerous and addictive substances in the world. Derived from the opium poppy, it has a long history of use both as a medicinal painkiller and, unfortunately, as a recreational drug. Despite its early promises as a less addictive alternative to morphine, heroin quickly gained a reputation for its ability to create strong physical and psychological dependencies. Today, heroin use continues to devastate communities globally, causing significant harm to individuals and society alike. But what exactly is heroin, and why is it so addictive? How does it affect the brain and body? And what are the lasting consequences of heroin use that we need to be aware of? In this comprehensive guide, we'll explore these questions and more, shedding light on the science behind heroin's impact and the severe risks it poses to health. Whether you're seeking knowledge out of personal curiosity or to understand the broader public health implications, this information will provide a detailed and accessible explanation of heroin's dangers. Throughout this script, we will break down heroin's chemical composition, its immediate and long-term effects on the brain and body, and the numerous risks and disadvantages associated with its use. Our aim is to help you understand not only the physical toll heroin can take, but also the emotional, psychological, and social consequences of addiction. The more we understand about this powerful and destructive drug, the better equipped we will be to make informed decisions and protect ourselves and those we care about from the devastating consequences of heroin use. Heroin is a potent and highly addictive drug that falls under the category of opioids, which are substances derived from the opium poppy plant. The active ingredient in heroin is diacetylmorphine, a synthetic version of morphine. Morphine, in turn, is naturally found in the opium poppy, and it is primarily used in medicine as a painkiller. Heroin was originally developed in the late 19th century as a less addictive alternative to morphine and as a treatment for pain and cough. However, it quickly became evident that heroin itself was extremely addictive and dangerous. Heroin is most commonly found as a white or brownish powder, but it can also appear as a sticky, tar-like substance known as black tar heroin. This type is typically brown or black and is less processed than powdered heroin. Regardless of its appearance, heroin is illegal in most parts of the world due to its high potential for abuse and addiction. The process of making heroin involves chemically modifying morphine. When heroin enters the body, it is metabolized into morphine and binds to opioid receptors in the brain and body. These receptors are part of the central nervous system and play an important role in regulating functions such as pain, pleasure, and breathing. This connection between heroin and the body's opioid receptors is the primary reason for the drug's addictive properties. Heroin is consumed in various ways. It can be injected directly into the bloodstream, inhaled by sniffing or snorting, or smoked. Each method delivers the drug to the brain at different speeds, with injection typically producing the most immediate and intense effects. While some users may initially use heroin occasionally, the drug is known for its ability to rapidly lead to physical and psychological dependence, which often results in chronic abuse. Ilya Grinev, 1311-2025, 2056. When heroin enters the body, it rapidly crosses the blood-brain barrier and binds to opioid receptors in the brain. This interaction primarily affects the brain's limbic system, which is responsible for regulating emotions, motivation, and the reward system. The brain's reward system is fueled by the release of dopamine, a neurotransmitter that plays a significant role in feelings of pleasure and satisfaction. Heroin causes a surge of dopamine, which results in intense euphoria, feelings of warmth, and an overall sense of well-being. This high is one of the reasons heroin is so sought after. However, the brain quickly adapts to the presence of heroin, leading to a decrease in the brain's natural production of dopamine. As a result, individuals may find it difficult to experience pleasure from activities that were once enjoyable, such as eating, socializing, or engaging in hobbies. This leads to a powerful craving for the drug in order to maintain that high. Additionally, heroin's effects are not limited to the brain's reward system. The drug also affects other critical areas of the brain that control vital functions such as breathing, heart rate, and blood pressure. One of the most dangerous effects of heroin is its ability to depress the respiratory system. This means that in high doses, heroin can slow or even stop breathing, which is the primary cause of death in heroin overdoses. The speed with which heroin enters the brain also influences the intensity and duration of its effects. When injected, heroin reaches the brain almost immediately, providing a rapid and intense euphoria. Smoking or snorting heroin also allows the drug to quickly enter the bloodstream, but the effects may be slightly less intense than those produced by injection. The physiological impact of heroin use is extensive. In the short term, users may experience a range of physical sensations, such as a dry mouth, warm skin, constricted pupils, and a feeling of heaviness in the limbs. These effects are often accompanied by a sense of relaxation, which is why some users may describe the experience as nodding off or chasing the dragon, terms referring to the altered state of consciousness. However, these effects are short-lived, typically lasting between 3 to 5 hours. As the drug wears off, the body experiences withdrawal symptoms, which can be uncomfortable and distressing. These withdrawal symptoms are often a driving factor for continued heroin use, as individuals seek to avoid the unpleasant feelings of withdrawal. Ilya Grinev, 1311, 2025, 2056. While heroin may provide temporary relief or pleasure, the long-term use of the drug carries severe risks, many of which can have lasting effects on the body. One of the most dangerous consequences of heroin use is the risk of overdose. An overdose occurs when an individual consumes more heroin than their body can handle, leading to a severe depression of the respiratory system. This can cause shallow or absent breathing, which can ultimately result in death if not treated promptly. The risk of overdose is especially high for individuals who use heroin intermittently or after a period of abstinence. This is because tolerance to heroin develops quickly. Tolerance occurs when the body becomes accustomed to the presence of the drug and requires increasingly higher doses to achieve the same effects. A sudden drop in tolerance, such as after a period of not using the drug, can make an individual more susceptible to overdose, even with what would otherwise be a normal dose. Long-term heroin use also takes a significant toll on the cardiovascular system. One of the most common complications is the damage to veins, especially among those who inject the drug. Repeated injections can cause veins to collapse, leading to long-term issues with circulation. In some cases, users may resort to injecting into less optimal veins, which can increase the risk of infections, abscesses, and blood clots. Heroin can also increase the risk of heart infections, including endocarditis, a condition in which the lining of the heart becomes infected, often due to the introduction of bacteria from dirty needles. This condition can lead to heart failure or even death if left untreated. The liver and kidneys are particularly vulnerable to the toxic effects of heroin. Since the body processes heroin in the liver, repeated use can lead to liver disease or liver failure. The kidneys, too, can become damaged as they work over time to filter out the toxins introduced by the drug. This can result in kidney disease, including renal failure, which may require dialysis or a kidney transplant. Heroin use can have a profound impact on the immune system, which plays a crucial role in protecting the body from infections. Long-term heroin use weakens the immune system, making it easier for bacteria, viruses, and other pathogens to cause infections. One of the most serious risks associated with heroin use is the transmission of blood-borne diseases such as HIV and hepatitis. For individuals who inject heroin, the risk of acquiring these diseases is significantly increased. Sharing needles or using non-sterile injecting equipment can introduce HIV, hepatitis B, and hepatitis C into the bloodstream. The prevalence of these infections is notably higher among people who inject heroin, and the consequences can be life-threatening if not managed properly. Beyond viral infections, heroin use can also increase the likelihood of bacterial infections. Heroin suppresses the immune system, which reduces the body's ability to fight off infections. This can make even minor infections more difficult to treat and potentially more severe. For instance, skin infections such as abscesses or cellulitis can develop at injection sites, and untreated infections may spread to other parts of the body, including the bones and internal organs. The use of unclean needles also carries the risk of introducing bacteria directly into the bloodstream, leading to systemic infections such as sepsis. Sepsis is a severe and often fatal condition that occurs when the body's response to infection causes widespread inflammation and organ failure. This highlights the importance of sterile equipment and the significant health risks associated with injecting heroin. Ilya Griniv, 1311, 2025, 20-56. Heroin addiction is not just a physical condition. It also takes a heavy toll on an individual's mental and emotional well-being. The drug alters the brain's chemistry, particularly in areas that control mood, decision-making, and emotional regulation. As a result, individuals who abuse heroin often experience mood swings, irritability, anxiety, and depression. The psychological effects of heroin use are tied to its ability to alter the brain's reward system. As the brain becomes accustomed to the artificial highs created by heroin, natural sources of pleasure become less rewarding. Activities that once brought joy, such as spending time with loved ones, pursuing hobbies, or even eating, may no longer feel fulfilling. This sense of emotional numbness is one of the reasons why heroin users continue to seek the drug. Over time, the brain's reward pathways become less responsive to natural stimuli, and the individual may feel increasingly isolated from the rest of society. In addition to emotional numbness, many heroin users experience significant anxiety and paranoia. These psychological effects can further isolate the individual and make it more difficult to maintain relationships, hold a job, or engage in daily activities. The constant cycle of seeking and using heroin can also lead to a loss of personal identity. As the drug becomes the focal point of the individual's life, this emotional and psychological toll can create a vicious cycle where the individual uses heroin to cope with negative emotions, but the drug itself worsens the emotional state in the long run. Heroin withdrawal is one of the most difficult and challenging aspects of overcoming addiction. When an individual who has become physically dependent on heroin stops using the drug, their body goes through a series of withdrawal symptoms. These symptoms can begin as soon as a few hours after the last dose and typically peak within 24 to 48 hours. The symptoms of heroin withdrawal are both physical and psychological, and they can be extremely uncomfortable. Common physical symptoms include muscle aches, sweating, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and chills. These symptoms are often accompanied by intense cravings for the drug, which can make it difficult to resist using heroin again. Psychologically, individuals going through heroin withdrawal may experience feelings of anxiety, depression, irritability, and difficulty sleeping. The combination of these physical and emotional symptoms makes withdrawal a significant barrier to recovery. Many individuals, unable to cope with the discomfort of withdrawal, return to heroin use as a way to alleviate the symptoms. This creates a cycle of addiction that can be incredibly difficult to break. Fortunately, medical treatment options are available to help individuals manage withdrawal symptoms and reduce the risk of relapse. Medications such as methadone and buprenorphine can help ease the discomfort of withdrawal and reduce cravings, making it easier for individuals to focus on their recovery. Ilya Grinev, 1311-2025, 2056. Heroin addiction not only has a profound impact on an individual's physical and psychological health, but also on their social and financial well-being. The stigma surrounding addiction can lead to social isolation, making it harder for individuals to maintain relationships with family and friends. Over time, heroin use can cause these relationships to deteriorate as the individual prioritizes obtaining and using the drug over maintaining meaningful connections. The financial toll of heroin addiction can be staggering. Maintaining a heroin habit can be extremely expensive, especially as tolerance develops and individuals require larger doses. As a result, many heroin users resort to illegal activities, such as theft or drug dealing, to fund their addiction. These criminal behaviors can result in legal consequences, including arrest, incarceration, and a criminal record, which further complicate the individual's life. Heroin addiction can also interfere with an individual's ability to maintain a job or pursue an education. The physical and psychological effects of the drug make it difficult to perform everyday tasks, and many users are unable to meet the demands of work or school. This can lead to job loss, financial instability, and an overall decline in quality of life. Heroin is classified as a controlled substance in most parts of the world, meaning that possession, sale, and distribution of the drug are illegal. The legal consequences of heroin use can be severe, and the penalties for those caught with heroin can range from fines and probation to lengthy prison sentences, depending on the amount of the drug involved in local laws. For individuals who are arrested for heroin-related offenses, the consequences can extend beyond legal penalties. A criminal record can make it difficult to secure housing, employment, or even education. The stigma associated with drug use can further isolate individuals, making it more difficult for them to reintegrate into society. Moreover, heroin users who are involved in criminal activity to fund their addiction may find themselves entangled in more serious legal trouble. The desire to obtain heroin can drive individuals to engage in risky and illegal behaviors, which often result in further legal complications and the potential for long-term incarceration. Despite the significant challenges associated with heroin addiction, recovery is possible. There are several treatment options available for those seeking to overcome their addiction. The most effective treatment programs typically combine a range of approaches, including behavioral therapy, medication-assisted treatment, MAT, and peer support. Medications such as methadone and buprenorphine are often used in MAT programs. These medications help to reduce cravings and withdrawal symptoms, allowing individuals to focus on recovery without the intense physical discomfort that comes with heroin withdrawal. These medications work by binding to opioid receptors in the brain, though they do so without producing the same euphoric effects as heroin. Therapy is another key component of heroin addiction treatment. Behavioral therapies, such as cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, help individuals identify and change the patterns of thinking and behavior that contribute to their addiction. CBT can also help individuals develop coping strategies to deal with stress, anxiety, and other triggers that may lead to relapse. Support groups such as Narcotics Anonymous, NA, provide peer support and a sense of community for individuals in recovery. These groups offer a safe space for people to share their experiences and struggles, helping them feel less isolated and more motivated to continue their recovery journey. Ilya Grinev, Heroin, 2025, 20-56. In conclusion, heroin is an extremely dangerous and addictive drug, with serious consequences for both physical and mental health. The drug affects the brain's reward system, leading to addiction, and can cause a wide range of health problems, including overdose, cardiovascular damage, liver and kidney failure, and infections. Heroin use also has significant social, economic, and legal consequences, making it even harder for individuals to break free from the cycle of addiction. However, with the right treatment and support, recovery is possible. Prevention efforts are crucial in reducing the number of people affected by heroin addiction. Educating the public about the dangers of heroin, promoting awareness, and providing access to treatment and support resources can make a significant difference in the fight against opioid addiction. By focusing on prevention, intervention, and treatment, society can help individuals struggling with heroin addiction regain control of their lives and lead healthier, more fulfilling futures. In conclusion, heroin is not just a drug. It is a force that disrupts lives, harms communities, and takes a heavy toll on individuals, physically, mentally, and emotionally. From its chemical properties to its impact on the brain's reward system, heroin is designed to hook users quickly, making it one of the most dangerous substances of abuse. The risks associated with its use, overdose, cardiovascular damage, liver and kidney failure, infections, and severe withdrawal symptoms, are not just hypothetical. They are real and devastating consequences that affect countless lives every day. But despite the overwhelming challenges that come with heroin addiction, recovery is possible. Treatment options are available, ranging from medication-assisted therapy to counseling and peer support programs, offering hope to those who are struggling with addiction. While the road to recovery is often long and difficult, it is a path that can lead to healing, transformation, and a healthier future. Prevention, education, and early intervention are key to reducing the impact of heroin on society. By understanding the dangers of heroin and raising awareness about the risks associated with its use, we can make informed decisions and take proactive steps to protect ourselves and others from falling into addiction. Supporting those who are already struggling with addiction and providing them with the resources they need to recover is essential in breaking the cycle of heroin abuse. Ultimately, knowledge is power. The more we understand about heroin and its effects, the better equipped we are to make choices that safeguard our health and well-being. By continuing to educate ourselves and others, we can work together to reduce the stigma surrounding addiction and provide support for those who need it. Together, we can make a difference and help create a future where fewer people fall victim to the dangers of heroin and other substances. The journey toward a healthier, drug-free society begins with awareness, understanding, and compassion. Let us continue to move forward with these values in mind, committed to helping those affected by heroin addiction and working to prevent future harm.